Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to DIY Crafts. So today, once again, we are crafting in the kitchen. With Super Bowl Sunday coming up, I thought it would be a really great idea to share two of my favorite recipes to make for any party, really, but Sunday in particular. These are two really simple recipes and recipes that you can kind of tweak to your own desires. So I figured I would share them because I enjoy them and I hopefully you enjoy them as well. So one really cool recipe is pull-apart bread. So today I'm going to show you guys how to make pizza pull-apart bread. So things you'll need is a roll or a loaf of sourdough bread right here. Get it at the grocery store, $4, fresh from the bakery. I have pizza sauce. I have a garlic and herb seasoning. This is optional. You can use your own favorite seasoning, whatever you want. The sauce is completely optional. You can do whatever sauce you want or no sauce at all. And then I have here supreme pizza toppings. So I have some pepperonis, some ham, some bacon, and some sausage. So kind of like a meat lovers. And then onions and peppers that were sauteed prior. So you can saute them right when you're doing this, but I figured for time sensitive purposes, I would do everything ahead of time. So the first thing that you're going to want to do is, if you're doing this all at once, is you're going to want to take a small saucepan with maybe like a tablespoon or two of butter and 2 cloves of garlic, and go ahead and dice it up and saute that in the pan until you get a nice garlic butter. And then once that's done, you're going to want to cut your bread. So I'm going to cut my bread on a diagonal. So I'm just going to go ahead and go almost all the way through. And all I'm doing is just cutting in a nice diagonal. I don't want to cut all the way through because that defeats the purpose of the pull-apart bread. So basically what's going to happen is I'm going to cut this into pieces. And when it's all done, you're just going to pull apart a piece. This is your last one. So the first round you're going to cut like this, just on the diagonal, and then you're going to cut the opposite diagonal. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this way. And you do want to make sure you're using a fairly sharp knife, otherwise this is going to be very difficult. And you just kind of hold it together. And don't worry if your pieces are not perfect, because that's what's going to make this worth it. Is if you want a small piece, go ahead and grab a small piece. If you want a large piece, go ahead and grab a large piece. So this is kind of that perfect little appetizer to share or not share. And so the cool thing about this bread is you really can put whatever you want in it. So the first thing that you're going to do, go ahead and open that up a little. So all those pieces and all those gaps are what we're going to fill in. And we're going to fill that in with all sorts of good stuff. So first things first, you're going to want to fill it in with that garlic butter spread. So go ahead and open those pieces up. Don't worry about making a mess here. That's kind of part of the point. This is very messy bread. But go ahead and put some garlic butter in between the slices. And you want to save a little bit of garlic butter because you're going to drizzle it over the top. So I'm just making sure that I've gone ahead and put the butter in all these little nooks and crannies. And this is going to be the base for my pull-apart bread, just like this. And then I'm going to go ahead and sprinkle in some of my peppers. Oops, sorry. I'm going to go ahead and sprinkle in some of my sauce here. So I'm going to use the same spoon. Go ahead and just grab a little bit of the sauce and sprinkle that on in there. Just a regular brush works fine. You can also use a spoon, whichever you prefer. And I'm just kind of filling in all the holes, all the spaces with that delicious red sauce. So if you're not a fan of pizza, what you can do is just do the garlic and butter, and then go ahead and fill in the holes with cheese. And the cheese is really what's going to make the pull-apart bread worth it, because the cheese is going to keep the bread together long enough for the oven to help pull it apart. So when this is done and you pull it out of the oven, it's just going to be a cheesy, delicious delight. Alrighty. So I got here my sauce. I got here my garlic. Now I'm going to go ahead and fill it in with the toppings. So again, I have my onions and peppers. And I'm just going to go ahead and put a little bit in between all these little pieces. Doesn't have to be perfect. You can get it on the top. Put it down on the sides. And this recipe is super versatile. So you can, like I said, you can do whatever you want. You can just do garlic, butter, and cheese. You can do pepperoni pizza. You can do ham and cheese. You can even do, if you don't like the garlic and you want something sweet, you can do cinnamon and sugar and butter. That's why I share this recipe, because once you know how to do it, you can kind of stuff it with whatever your heart desires. And that's what really makes this recipe super unique. All right, so I got my peppers in there. And then once you pull it apart, you can kind of see, hey, I totally missed a spot. So that's super helpful. All right, and now I'm going to take my toppings, mix them around a little bit, and go ahead and open this up again and just fill in all of those cracks. If it stays on the top, that's okay too. It doesn't have to fall in between the cracks. It just works better if it does. And then, as always, I forgot my cheese in the fridge, so I'm going to have to go grab that, which I will. But yeah, this is kind of like calzone meets garlic bread. And if you want more sauce, obviously you can always add more sauce to it. This is kind of like whatever you want, whatever you enjoy, anything goes. And once again, if you just kind of open it up a little bit, make sure you didn't miss any places too bad. I made a recipe like this with chicken. Same way, same style. Super delicious. I highly recommend it. All right. So, I got my cheese. So I have here Sargento Italian. You specifically just need a cheese that's stringy. So this cheese has mozzarella in it. And that's really what I was going for with this recipe. You need something that has cheese in it. So I've gone ahead and preheated my oven to 325, which is what you're going to want it at, or 350 depending on how hot your oven cooks. Mine cooks a little bit hotter, so I lowered the temperature a little bit. And once again, I'm just taking all those little nooks and crannies and stuffing it with cheese. And that is like super simple. So what's going to happen is when you put this in the oven, all the cheese is going to melt and all the toppings are going to kind of sink to the bottom. And what guests are going to do is they're going to take a piece and just twist it off, and it's that delicious. So I'll end up having to post a picture of this later, but go ahead and open it up, make sure that cheese sinks down a little bit. I'm going to put it on a sheet pan that is lined with tin foil. And pile all this up over here. Move my bread so you guys can see it. And then all I'm going to do is I'm going to take the rest of that garlic butter mixture. Now I'm just going to go ahead and spread it along the top. And that's really going to secure all these delicious flavors and make the bread so it has a nice golden brown color when I put it in the oven. And I also have these chunks of garlic in here, which I thoroughly enjoy. So that's this. From here, I'm just going to add a little bit of my garlic and herb seasonings just to give it some added flavor. This really makes it kind of taste like pizza in my opinion. Salt-free garlic and herb, super delicious. And then I'm just going to wrap it. Alright, so I'm going to put it in the oven for 20 minutes, covered. And then I'm going to take it out of the tin foil and then leave it in the tin foil for another 10 minutes. Leave it out of the tin foil for another 10 minutes. We'll save that for later. So that's the first super easy, super versatile recipe. The second one that I want to share with you that I think you'll be thoroughly enjoyed or thoroughly whatever with is monkey bread. So I don't know if you've ever had monkey bread, but monkey bread is a cross between French toast and candy. No word of a lie. So things you're going to need a bundt cake. I've already gone ahead and greased the inside of this bundt cake. Then you're going to need some sugar, some cinnamon, and a bunch of buttermilk biscuits. So you're going to want 3 cans of this buttermilk biscuit. And all you're going to do is you're going to crack this open, pop it, go ahead and take this out. I know this seems sacrilege. We're going to ruin our biscuits here. And what you want to do is you just want to cut your biscuit into 4s. So I literally just cut it into 4s, put it in the dish. Same thing, cut it into 4s, put it in there. You can cut more than one at a time if you want to go on a kind of a fast craze. And again, cut it into 4s. And then just separate the pieces. Here we go. Here we go. So I've already gone ahead and cut all 3 cans and separated the pieces and put them in this bowl. Now you're going to take a smaller dish and you're going to add 1 cup of sugar to 2 tablespoons of cinnamon. So this recipe is definitely interchangeable. You can play around with it a little bit. If you don't want as much sugar, go for a 3/4 cups of sugar, maybe 1 tablespoon of cinnamon. It's very, very changeable depending on how much sweetness you want. I've gone for a 1-to-1 ratio. So for me, there's 1 cup of sugar, and later I'm going to show you the 1 cup of brown sugar that you add for the very topping. So bear with me for a moment. Grab a spoon. And then all you're going to do is mix this cinnamon and sugar together like so until it is very well mixed. If you are a chocolate fan, you can also do cocoa and sugar and a little bit of cinnamon and make chocolate monkey bread, which is really good. When this comes out of the oven, you can add certain toppings to it, such as like a cream cheese mixture or anything of that desire. So all I'm doing is I'm taking each one of these and just rolling it in the cinnamon and sugar concoction and go ahead and tossing it in the bundt cake pan. So just coat it in cinnamon and sugar, much like you are making like stuffed chicken, where you're going to roll it in something. So don't be shy here. Go ahead and roll those around real nice. If you have a partner in crime that you can do this with, such as your kids or a family member, what you can do is while they are rolling this in the cinnamon and sugar mixture, you can go to the stovetop and melt a 1/2 cup of butter with 1 cup of brown sugar. And that 1 cup of brown sugar and 1/2 cup of butter is going to be your ooey gooey delicious topping. And for this, you're going to want to set your oven to 325, and you're going to leave it in the oven for about 30 to 35 minutes, depending on how fast your oven cooks. So again, this is super, super simple. If you want to make it a little bit more exciting, more your own, you can easily make your own biscuit dough. For me, I just want something super simple, and I know that this is really delicious. I've had it many times before. Probably one too many. But you can definitely make your own dough. There's recipes out there for it. This is just a simple version to do with. You can try flaky layers biscuits as well. Those are just as delicious. Apparently I'm not the only one that's super excited about monkey bread around here. So that's this. And then once you get these all coated, you can actually grab a couple and coat a couple at a time. That's money. So coat them up, toss them in there. It's making a good little layer here. There's no rhyme or reason to how you put these in here. It doesn't have to be perfectly put in here. Echo. So you just want to make sure that they're fully coated. And I don't notice I'm not adding anything. I'm not adding any like egg wash or anything like that. The biscuits themselves are moist enough that they're picking up the cinnamon and sugar. So that works fine. I'm going to toss those in here. That's pretty much it. So bear with me for a moment. Finish tossing these about. Make sure you separate all your biscuits. Nice individual pieces. Another thing that you can do too is if you want to make this a little bit more healthy, you can add some fruit in here. Strawberries are really, really good. Blueberries are really good. If you want to make it more unhealthy but better, you can add chocolate chips, but it's not necessary. It's good just the way it is. And this is just a super quick, super easy, if you're going to a Super Bowl party or you're throwing a Super Bowl party at your house, or you just want a quick, nice snack for dinner or dessert, this is perfect for that. I will tell you though, if you bring this to a party, you are going to have to make it all the time because that's how good it is. So again, just taking all these pieces, putting them in here. And then the only thing that you're going to want to do is before you pop this just directly into the oven, you do want to put the bundt pan on a sheet pan just in case it overflows. It is a sticky, gooey mess, and brown sugar and the oven make a really hard candy that makes it really difficult to clean up. So my suggestion is, just for fear of overflow, make sure that you put this on a sheet pan just in case. And then I'm almost done. Here. Alrighty, so once I have them all in here, that's off the side so you guys can see it. So there's my cinnamon and sugar coated Pillsbury delicious milk buttermilk cakes here, all in here. So now what I'm gonna do, I've already gone ahead and melted the sugar and butter here, this creamy, delicious, gooey, amazing stuff. And all I'm going to do is go ahead and just pour that on. So don't be shy here. This all has to go in it. I do have to do a huge shout out to my best friend's mother, because if it wasn't for her, I would not make this. But because she's made it so many times and it is that delicious, I had to learn to make it. Maybe I didn't have to. I really just wanted to. So I'm not going to go too crazy and spread it around. I'm just going to leave it exactly like that. And I'm going to go ahead and put it on my sheet pan and then pop it in the oven. Alright, so that's going to stay in the oven for about 30 to 35 minutes. And if you guys follow us on Facebook, as soon as it is done and ready, I will take a picture of it and show it to you guys and leave it in the comments here so you can see how delicious both of these turned out. But super simple recipes. The bread pull apart, super diverse. You can add whatever you want to it. And then the same thing with the monkey bread. It's very diverse. You can add a little less brown sugar, a little more sugar, less cinnamon. Play around with the recipe a little bit and figure out which works best for you. You might find that my recipe is too sweet, but I clearly am not sweet enough, so I need as much sweetness as I can get in my life. Until next week, I'll see you guys all then. Happy Super Bowl Sunday. Go whichever team you're rooting for. See you next week.